Okay, let's talk about profiling your customers using demographic data. At least in theory, this is something that most of us are familiar with, especially those of us working in the area of marketing, since demographic data is used by marketers in lots of different ways, particularly for traditional marketers who do not have database level data, individual level purchase data available. Now, demographics are less important when you have individual level purchase data, but they still play a role in understanding your customers. Our research over the last 20 years has shown that a combination of demographics and purchase behavior data results in better profiling than just purchase behavior data by itself. So what can demographics tell us? Well, they create an identity and a story about the individual, and they sort of act like character development in a novel or a story about an individual. Some of the basic demographics that we are most familiar with: age, education, age of children, gender, family size, occupation, ethnicity, race, but also bank balances, credit card balances, type of housing, rent or own, property values, your zip code, your distance to work, etc. The real question is, what information do we need to gain a better understanding of our customers? And I always recommend that we ask the question, what am I going to do with the information in terms of database marketing? Understand that some information is very sensitive and we are almost always better off not asking for it. Three types of information that immediately come to mind are medical information, information about an individual's children, and financial information. So typically we try not to ask questions about this. We may, on the other hand, use a data warehouse to gather some of this information. So where can we get demographic data? Well, we can survey individuals or try to get that information on an application when we first make our first purchase with these people. An example of this, for instance, would be casinos in Nevada are required to copy your driver's license. So if someone has your driver's license information, they automatically know your age, your height, your weight, and your address. Could use census data, and census data we could get census data all the way down the block level, which is about 14 houses, and use that as a surrogate for everyone who was in those 14 houses. Most likely, though, we would go to data warehouses. And some examples are Polk, Experian, Claritas, and of course, one of my favorites, the old NDL stuff. Now, the NDL stuff is, I think, particularly interesting. I met Jack Bickert a number of years ago. He recently passed away. He was the founder and CEO of NDL, National Demographics and Lifestyles. He sold that in 1990 and developed a company called Looking Glass, which was also a data warehousing company. And Jack was one of the pioneers in collecting that data and building a warehouse so that people could, in fact, buy demographic appended data from him. So data warehouses are really designed to provide data that you can immediately append to your customer files to make them more data filled, especially with demographic data. Well, so how much does it cost to append demographic data to your database? Well, of course, this depends on how many people are in your database and what kind of data you want to include. but is probably cheaper than you might think. I want to just show you a quick look at two of Experian's, one of the big data warehousers, demographic packages for marketers. Their first package is called Consumer View Basic. This is a core set of 8 elements that help marketers quickly differentiate their customers based on age, gender, marital status, home ownership, dwelling type, income, number of adults in the household. It also includes direct mailer responder data to help you decide which homes to direct surface mail to. The price of this uploaded records is $13 per 1,000 records. So for $13, I can take 1,000 of my customers and add to each record date of birth and combined adult age, gender, marital status, dwelling type, ownership, number of adults in a household, multi-company direct response tendencies, and estimated household income. Now, it's important that we note here that it's estimated household income because that data is what we refer to as imputed data. And we'll talk more about that when we talk about list management. So the cost is 1.3 cents per household or customers, or $13,000 for each 1 million customers that you have. So this is very inexpensive. A little bit different package is one that's called a Customer View Household Profile. And this is has the same information as the basic package, but it adds some other variables included in it. Some of the things it adds is length of residence, the presence of children, the mosaic household group, digital dads and digital moms. It also adds information about occupation and things along those lines. And so this cost is 6.7 cents per household or customer, or $67,000 per 1 million customers. Now, $67,000 seems like a lot of money, but it does encompass 1 million customers. And once again, this is a plethora of information that can really help complete that 360-degree view of the customers based on their demographic profiles. In summary, demographic data is not very expensive or not very difficult to get, and it does have some insight and predictive value. So I always ask people to think about whether or not it is worth their money to collect demographic data or append demographic data to their database.